Hey everybody, this is Grace. This video I want to talk about, well, one of them is a memory, but things about feeding wildlife. And I don't know if you can see it in front of me from this view, but there's a crow or something eating something out in the street. But anyway, I had made a video, and it was sometime about a month ago, okay? And I had uploaded it to a different channel, and I just made it public yesterday. And I was thinking, why didn't I put it on this channel? I don't know. I just didn't for whatever reason. And maybe I wasn't using this channel at that time. It could have been that. And I still haven't been really using this channel. Yeah. So I don't know what's up with me, but well, we've been having a lot of things going on, like getting things repaired, doing home renovations, and I'm waiting today to see if they show up again to do more. You never know, So I've been feeding wildlife in my backyard of my house, and in the front yard too. Just not so much in the front. They seem to like the backyard. It's fenced in, and I guess they feel safe. But it basically started off with a rabbit. Okay, two of them. One was in the front yard and one was in the backyard. And this was when it was cold. Well, we had, what, 6 months of cold. We actually had a little bit more after that. Yeah, and this is Texas. That doesn't happen, but it did this time around. But anyway, so I started feeding them because I saw a rabbit sitting out there, in the front yard. Rabbit looked way too skinny, and then in the backyard there was one just sitting there, really tiny one. And so I started feeding it. Well, that little feeding the animals, the wildlife in the backyard grew to where, I'm buying food for them, and every week I buy something. I mix some stuff together too. I even buy strawberries and carrots. For whatever reason, they don't seem to like the carrots that much. Yeah, the strawberries, they can't eat too much, but anyway. And then what it turned out, was that I have, so far what we've seen, at least this many, okay, at least 2 rabbits, at least 2 possums, of course a whole bunch of birds, and several squirrels. I don't know how many. We used to have raccoons. I don't know if they come out at all. So, and another thing that we found was that we have a feral cat that lives in the attic. I said, well, maybe that's a good idea. I don't know. But I can hear it or something running around every night. That's nothing unusual. We live, around ranches and stuff, and yeah, we've heard things, running around in our attic since, what, like almost 20 years? Close enough, but so oh well. We do know where they're getting in, so we haven't covered it up yet. So yeah. Anyway, I'm enjoying feeding the wildlife these days, and it calms me down so much. It kind of like gives me back something, or a feeling that I haven't had since I was young, and in this the crazy life. It seems like, just out in the world, going out there, dealing with people who are so judgmental and on. But it's something calming, soothing. Go in my backyard, feed the animals, raise the blinds and see them, and yeah. As far as a little memory, it did make me think of one time. I think Adam was working in California, and I was in an apartment in Texas during the while, living by myself at the time. This was many years ago, and there was a feral cat. It was a pregnant cat. I didn't know it was pregnant at the time, but at first, of course. But yeah, it was a mama cat. I think Calico, and she would get on my porch. I was on the bottom floor, and she'd get on my porch, which was fenced in, and she would just sit there. And so finally I started leaving little food out, a little bit of food here, and everything, and she would, you know, at the same time every day, it was usually evening, and she'd come and she'd eat it. But she was feral. She wouldn't let me touch her, wouldn't let me get near her. But after a while, she got used to me, I guess. Okay, and like I said, this was many years ago, and I had some game. You remember when the games really first started coming out, I guess? And one of them had a dragon on it, a little like cartoon. I don't remember totally, but a little cartoon dragon, and it was really tiny. It was it was a baby dragon, I guess. Well, that cat, the strangest thing is that cat would eventually, I would leave the patio door open just enough to see if the cat, you know, would come in, and eventually she started coming in. She'd come in, she'd look, stare at the TV, and just sit there and watch it, and just watch the TV with the little dragon on it. And then she'd have enough and she'd go back outside. Like I said, eventually she had a bunch of babies on my patio, and of course they were feral. And I don't know, I think after sometime after that was when I moved, so I don't know what happened to them. Yeah, so. But yeah, you know, I liked feeding wildlife, and it does bring about this, like I said, this feeling of, you know, something good. You know, instead of, like I've said, I live in Narcissism-Ville. You know, going to a store is sometimes, especially in the summer, yeah. You know, going to, or the warmer weather, I should say. Remember, we have 2 seasons, winter and summer here. But yeah, going to, you know, store can be just such a major event. Because there's going to be some kind of problem going on there, whether it's with me or somebody else, a different customer, you know, or something. And far too often, this isn't 100%, of course, far too often, it's an employee that thinks customers are a burden. You know, really, no, customers aren't a burden. But yeah, I see that too much. So it's good to have something that is a little relaxing in all this. And that's feeding these wildlife. Seriously. But in the middle of the night, last night, I got up for something. I think Marmaduke, you know, has been having problems, and he's much better now. But yeah, he's very bossy now. So I guess he thinks he's making up for when he really couldn't eat much and all. But anyway, so I think he wanted out. It was real late, maybe close to midnight, maybe, you know, later than that. And I saw a possum and one of the rabbits eating together. It was like, that's cool. I've seen the possum and the squirrels, I mean, not the possum, but the rabbits and the squirrels, you know, the birds, all those. But I've never seen a possum eat with a rabbit before. But it was. And then Adam said this morning he looked out and it was 2 possums and a squirrel. So, at least 2. I knew we had at least 2. One seems bigger and one seems smaller. I also like watching the cardinals, the way they always seem to come in 2s, you know, like a male well, it is a male cardinal and a female cardinal. And I don't know if it's the same 2, but the male cardinal will guard the female, and while she's eating, and then, you know, every once in a while he'll eat, and then they touch one another's beaks quite often, but they're always it seems like they're always in pairs, you know. Oh well, I think I've said enough. I've rambled enough about this, so I just thought I'd put this up. Anyway, that's enough for this video for now, and if you want to subscribe to this channel and you haven't already, click the circle, and I've mentioned that it's going to be true to its title all these 4.5 years. But anyway, if you want to watch another video on this channel, you can click one of the rectangles, like, subscribe, comment, and share on your own social media if you would. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.